Hey review family, keep it I keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, the review guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Blink-182 record entitled 9. Blink-182, the California pop-punk, alternative rock, and punk rock band. The world of pop-punk, the major boom in the 2000s, would not be what it was if it wasn't for Blink-182 and some other key bands. They really brought that punk rock aggression, that really fast tempo playing, as well as that pop-punk melody that is found in so many bands now. You would not have bands like All Time Low without Blink-182. You would not have bands like Fall Out Boy without Blink-182. You would have a major slew of other bands, and maybe they would still be around, but they would not sound anything like they do if it wasn't for Blink-182, and I kind of consider that the same thing. They've hit a bit of a rough patch in the 2010s, releasing some of their by far weakest material up until this point. Not necessarily losing their original flavor, but not being able to compete with their classic albums. They released quite a few singles in anticipation for this record. I believe it was like 4 or 5. I think it was 5. And the thing about it is all of the singles pretty much sounded not that good. Surely not the worst, but definitely following a clear pattern and formula. I want to preface this by saying I like Blink-182. They have some very, very classic records. I love a lot of their classic records. I really love Enema of the State, and a lot of their other, like, first I'd say 3 or 4 records are my favorites. But something went horribly wrong with 9. This feels like a gentrified version of Blink-182. The track listing is far too long. It's 41 minutes and 15 tracks, which that length is perfectly fine. There's just too many tracks that could have been compacted down. A lot of the lyricism annoys me because it feels like they are stuck in the past. They're stuck in the, 1990s and early 2000s back when they were kids. They're talking about themes that people their age probably should not be singing about. They have lyrical topics that are occasionally decent, such as the dealing with depression. The production is honestly more lifeless than it has ever been on any Blink project up until this point. I can say with absolute positive confidence that the production feels absolutely soulless and lifeless on this record. The track Dark Side is a fantastic example of one of my major issues with this record. Listen to the chorus of Dark Side, listen to the drum pattern, listen to the guitar line, and listen to this whole progression in the chorus, and tell me this isn't the most stereotypical, cliche, like one-dimensional pop-punk progression that you have ever heard in your life. This all leaves Blink-182 sounding like a cover band trying to sound like Blink-182. Mark and Matt don't necessarily sound bad on the vocal front, but it is some of their most uninspired work up until this point. And to be honest, like I said, this all just feels so derivative. For lack of a better term, a lot of this feels like lazy songwriting, and Blink-182 is better than this. Even Travis Barker, who is one of my favorite drummers, period, sounds toned down on this record. It's like they're restraining themselves just to stick to the pattern and what works. And it's not even like this album hits a bad trajectory as it progresses. There are some very iffy bad tracks in the midway point very close to the start. Blame It On My Youth has one of the most annoying choruses on this entire album, one of the most annoying uninspired refrains. Generational Divide doesn't even hit the minute mark, but it is so on the nose that it annoys me. Runaway doesn't even breach the 2.5 minute mark, and it's a strange mixture of sounds thrown into the cauldron. The verses have the instrumentation soaked in kind of what sounds like reverb and put in the background while the vocals take this massive forefront in this almost rap way. But the chorus once again annoys me because you know what it sounds like? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a really crappy emo alternative rock song from the 2000s that no one heard. That's how one-dimensional and stereotypical this sounds. It sounds like an emo alt-rock song. Black Rain, if it wasn't for some of those guitar freakouts, remind me of an Imagine Dragons song. I don't need to go any further with that. I really wish I Hated You for being one of the slightly longer tracks on the album. I'm not sure if it justifies its length. It so abruptly shifts from nothing to something, from 0 to 100, and the verses are so low-key that it has the kind of pop rock approach to kind of building you up with something really, really bare bones and minuscule, only to burst you into something massive, so you're like, ugh. This record is extremely, extremely disappointing from Blink-182. I know they can do better. Like I said, said, I preface this by saying I enjoy the band. I think this is an extremely, extremely weak album, and if it wasn't for some of those lyrical themes, if it wasn't for the occasional, like, classic Blink-182 melody, this would be a very below average release for me. But as is, I think the songs have lazy songwriting. I think the progressions are some of their weakest, some of their most uninspired. I'm not a big fan of some of those vocal melodies. I'm definitely not a big fan of any of the choruses for the most part. Not a fan of the production. And can I just say, let me just say, I'm gonna put something somewhere on the screen. This is how many people were involved with the making of this album. Knock knock, how the fuck did it come out sounding this bad? It's like the pop and the rap trope of like 50 million producers and guests, and yet it still sounds bad. Yeah, 9's not that good. There are so many better Blink-182 albums. I even think the prior two from this decade are leagues above 9. I just think it's some of the most uninspired sounds that Blink-182 has ever brought to the table. What can I say? I'm gonna be giving this album a 4 out of 10, and that is a wrap. Please check for the end screen and links and videos that you might be interested in. Have you heard this new Blink-182 album, 9? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss the record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. It'll help me out a lot. And subscribe to join the review family today. I'd love to have you here. Smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy. You know who it is. And I'm signing off saying farewell.